The ATP changes one of its rules after the controversy with Alcaraz. The men's tour revises its regulations and authorizes physical monitoring devices. They may be used for the first time at Indian Wells. Professional tennis is taking a step toward technology applied to performance. The ATP has approved a regulatory modification that will allow players to compete with physical monitoring wristbands during official matches, putting an end to the controversy experienced at the last Australian Open. Until now, the regulations prohibited the use on court of devices capable of providing real-time performance data. The situation sparked debate after several players were forced to remove them before competing. One of the most talked about cases involved Carlos Alcaraz, when chair umpire Maria Sakake asked him to remove his Whoop wristband before his round of 16 match against Tommy Paul. Similar scenes also occurred with Jannik Sinner and with player Arna Sabalenka, which fueled the discussion about the relationship between technology and competition. After that, the men's tour has reviewed its position. The new regulation expands the use of wearable devices and will allow tennis players to wear them during matches. The board approved a rule that extends the range of permitted wearable device providers and their use on court by players in ATP competitions, the official statement reads. The application of the rule will be immediate. The first tournament in which they may be used will be the Indian Wells Masters 1000. The decision also responds to the rise of data analysis in elite sport. The wristband's record parameters such as heart rate, workload, recovery, or sleep quality, information that is increasingly valuable for players' physical preparation. Paradoxically, the initial ban ended up benefiting the brand itself. The worldwide exposure of the images multiplied the visibility of Whoop, whose founder and CEO, Will Ahmed, publicly defended its use. It is approved by the International Tennis Federation and poses no safety risk. Let the athletes measure their bodies. Data is not steroids, he stated. With this change, the ATP definitively opens the door to technological monitoring on court, another step in the progressive scientific professionalization of modern tennis. Carlos Alcaraz is already preparing for his bid for a third title in Indian Wells. The world number one has returned to training after his success in Doha and is getting ready for the always demanding Sunshine Double, Indian Wells and Miami. One of the next milestones he aims to achieve is winning both tournaments in the same year. As we mentioned yesterday, he will travel to the United States next Sunday and is expected to make his debut on Friday, March 6 or Saturday, March 7. Zverev revives the controversy with Alcaraz in Australia. He had a little physical break. The German has not forgotten the match against the Spaniard in the semi-finals, where moments of desperation were experienced in a nearly 5.5-hour contest. What a match we witnessed just a month ago between Carlos Alcaraz and Alexander Zverev. An Australian Open semi-final that ended with an incredible 6-4, 7-6, 6-7, 6-7 and 7-5 in a match lasting 5 hours and 27 minutes. The German reappeared at the ATP Acapulco after a month of rest following that tough blow, defeating Corentin Moutet in the first round and recalling that unforgettable battle against the Spaniard in the press conference. Zverev self-criticizes about Australia. I think I played the right way in Australia. I lost the match against Alcaraz because I got tired at the end, to be honest. I had nothing left in the tank at 5-4. I remember on the first point of that game I should have hit the ball much earlier, but to do that you have to move, and I couldn't, Alexander Zverev explained to the media. One must not overlook the conflict that arose during the match. When Alcaraz was treated during the third set for vomiting and cramps, an angry Zverev could not avoid shouting, "He has cramps. What is this nonsense? He can't go to the doctor, he has cramps. What else could it be? This is complete nonsense. Nonsense. This is incredible." These shouts at the chair umpire were added to his suggestion that the Australian Open favoured both Carlos Alcaraz and Sinner, who experienced a similar situation. With batteries recharged after the disappointment with Carlitos, all the back and forth about the cramps and the ban on being treated in the middle of a match was something that generated much discussion, but Zverev has already moved on. The world number 4 arrived in Acapulco with a different attitude. "I didn't play anything after the Australian Open. I took some time off and had good training sessions because I want to continue playing in a certain way and with a specific style, and that requires quite a bit of training and adjustments. For me it's a very different game from last year. I'm trying new things. I arrived here several days ago, so I've had time to train and to try to have a good tournament." However, luck does not seem to be on his side, as he fell in the round of 16 to Kekmanovic in a tight 3-set match that ended 3-6, 7-6, 3, and 6-7, 7, with the German having had victory within reach. Alcaraz stands his ground and responds to Sinner's threat. The rivalry that sustains modern tennis has added a new chapter off the court. With Roland Garros 2026 looming on the horizon, Jannik Sinner has not hidden his hunger for glory. openly declaring his intention to dethrone Carlos Alcaraz on his home turf. However, the Spaniard, far from entering into an exchange of barbs, has responded with a philosophy of steel. In an appearance that radiated serenity, the Spaniard made it clear that his radar does not detect others' movements. For Carlitos, tennis has stopped being a chase for records and has become a celebration of health. I have been injured, and during that time when you are out of competition, you miss it. You realize how beautiful it is. That's why, once I can do it, it's time to stop thinking about the rest and think about how fortunate I am, Alcaraz confessed. This statement is not just a diplomatic phrase, it is a declaration of intent. After having tasted the bitter flavor of a break due to injury, Alcaraz has reset his mindset. The poison of competition is now managed through enjoyment, a psychological tactic that is often more lethal than any inside-out forehand. The assault on the clay throne. While the tennis world anticipates a train collision in Paris, Alcaraz keeps a steady pulse. His objectives for this 2026 are clear: the Masters 1000 and the Grand Slams. But above the trophies, his main goal is absolute dominance through happiness on court. "Even if I lose a point or a match, you will see me happy because I love competing," stated the world number one. Sinner wants the throne, but Alcaraz has built a mental fortress where there is room only for his own tennis. The battle for Roland Garros has already begun, and it is not being played with rackets, but with the mind. How much money would Carlos Alcaraz pocket if he lifts the title in Indian Wells? The ATP has made public the prize money for the Indian Wells tournament, the first Masters 1000 of the season. The best players in the world will once again gather in Indian Wells from March 4 to 15. The facilities of the Indian Wells Tennis Garden will host, as usual, the first Masters 1000 of the season, a tournament that players adore and that all the great legends of the sport have won on some occasion. Federer, 2004, 2005, 2006, 2012 and 2017, and Djokovic, 2008, 2011, 2014, 2015 and 2016, have won it 5 times each. Rafa Nadal has 3 titles in the Californian desert, 2007, 2009 and 2013, and Jimmy Connors and Michael Chang also conquered it in 3 editions. Carlos Alcaraz has already triumphed twice in Indian Wells, 2023 and 2024, appearing on the list of players with 2 titles, alongside tennis players of the caliber of Jim Courier, Boris Becker, Lleyton Hewitt or Pete Sampras. The current champion and defending title holder is the Briton Jack Draper, who defeated Alcaraz last year in the semi-finals. And as in every ATP tournament, there will also be substantial prize money for all players. Carlos Alcaraz, champion this year of the Australian Open and the ATP 500 Doha, leads earnings this season with more than $3 million, specifically a total of $3,301,730. The Spaniard, in tremendous form, will seek in Indian Wells his 3rd title of the year and continue adding money to his bank account. The ATP has already made public the prize money for Indian Wells 2026 and the winner will take home $1,151,380. The finalist will pocket $612,340, while the semi-finalists will earn $340,190. Reaching the quarterfinals will bring a prize of $193,645. The remaining prizes will be distributed as follows. 4th round, $105,720. 3rd round, $61,865. 2nd round, $36,110. 1st round, $24,335.